But these monuments to Murray were to begin the 21st century under a cloud of uncertainty, heavier and darker than any smoke that ever billowed out of the old plant. The land upon which they stood was being cleared of lead and arsenic contamination, heavy equipment leaving nothing standing but the stacks themselves. And soon, they would be gone as well. A shopping mall was to be built here, but the giant brick chimneys would not be part of it. Cracked and in need of repair, the old stacks were to be brought down by explosives, a plan that left many saddened by the impending loss.
It's not just sad, it's tragic. From an historic point of view, these are magnificent structures. And once it's gone, if it goes, it will never be duplicated again.
You know, those stacks are important. That's what Utah was.
While their unique historical value was not enough to save them, their destruction, at least for the time being, would be delayed. Ironically, for the very same reason they were originally built: concerns about the environment.
The interiors of both chimneys had, after years of exposure to smelter smoke, become caked with deposits of lead and arsenic. In addition, the top of the big stack was coated with a tarry substance containing high levels of asbestos, a fiber known to cause cancer. Some feared bringing the stacks down would produce a cloud of dangerous, possibly deadly dust. With Murray High School and hundreds of students just across the street, that concern was enough to put the demolition plans on hold. The stacks, it seemed, would stand, at least for a while, remaining the largest and most impressive monuments to Murray's past. The smeltermen, with their weathered faces and calloused hands, the hot lead and unhealthy fumes, the fiery and fascinating business of smelting ore, are now only memories, fading like old photographs with just one tangible solid link remaining between then and now, us and them. Those two towering stacks, which not only reach high up into the Utah sky, but back across decades of time. When or if those giants on the Skyline fall, that connection will be severed, and certainly part of the past and perhaps some important lessons for the future will be lost forever.
If you do not pay attention to your history, you do not understand what's happening to you now, and the future has no meaning.
On a cool August morning in what would be the hottest summer in the history of the Salt Lake Valley, the Murray stack stood awaiting the heat of yet another summer day. Yet the real heat this Sunday morning would come from 300 pounds of high explosives. In a thundering white-hot flash, they would do what time and gravity had been unable to do for more than 8 decades: bring the big stacks down. More than 10,000 people gathered to witness the demolition. Many would cheer as the great columns toppled into a pile of broken brick and billowing dust. But there were those who watched with eyes tearing, not from the irritating clouds of dust, but from a profound sense of loss. The towering brick sentinels that stood watch over the city for so long, the landmarks that said, "This is Murray," were now gone, leaving an empty expanse of August sky, settling dust, and fading memories. The big stacks had finally been brought down, not by wind or weather, earthquake, or the ravages of time, but a stronger and more irresistible force. The stacks could not stand in the path of progress, at least progress as defined by the new property owners. In their view, the old stacks and a new medical center simply could not coexist. So the 100-acre site would be cleared of the remaining toxic debris and soil. Much of what remained of the demolished stacks would be buried on site, while the more contaminated material would be hauled away. The Murray site was finally given a clean bill of health by the Environmental Protection Agency. The arsenic and lead, like the big stacks themselves, were gone. In their place, a remarkable 21st century state-of-the-art medical center began rising like a phoenix from the rubble of the past. There had never been a more dramatic or costly transformation in Murray's long, colorful history. It would take 5 years, thousands of skilled workers, and $580 million to complete the mammoth project. The new Intermountain Medical Center officially opened in the fall of 2007. Made up of 5 freestanding specialty hospitals, each an impressive medical facility in its own right, the sprawling 1.5 million square foot facility would claim the title of the most advanced and complete medical center in the entire Intermountain West. From its cutting-edge medical technology to the serene garden walks on campus, the center was clearly designed to provide healing for both body and spirit. Today, it's hard to picture the smoky industrial landscape that was the Murray smelter site for so many years. The smelter and the big stacks are gone, but they're not totally forgotten. Here, next to this gleaming new medical office building, there's a brick and concrete tribute to the old smelter. It features this circular planter, which is positioned just about where the base of the larger of the 2 stacks once stood. It's exactly 48 feet across. That's the diameter of the large stack at its base. The brick is 51 inches wide. That's how thick the walls were of that old stack. And the reason they were so thick, they had to support a 12.3 million pound column of brick that rose 455 feet into the sky. That, by the way, is twice the height of any of the new buildings here at this campus. Facts like these and a brief history of the Murray smelter can be found on 4 informational panels erected on the plaza. It's a little history, a little respect for those who came before, a little insight into Murray City's past. And while certainly not as impressive as the great industrial chimneys that once stood here, the plaza is a small acknowledgement of the very large impact they had. Sadly, the stacks were not preserved, but the memories of what they were and what they meant to this community have been. That's important because real progress can only be made if you have a clear idea of where you're going. And in order to know where you're going, you must have some idea of where you've been. I'm Jerry Anders.